Hello and welcome to Bourbon Rocks. Tonight we're going to review Eagle Rare 17 years old from the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection, otherwise known as Eagle Rare BTAC 17. We've done a few of the Buffalo Trace Antique Collections already. There are three bourbons in it. There's the Weller, which is the wheated bourbon. There's the Stag, which is the low rye #1 mash bill. Same mash bill as the Eagle Rare. The difference being that the Stag is aged just a little bit younger. It's around 15 years, but it can vary year to year. Whereas the Eagle Rare is specifically 17 years every time. Also, the Stag is bottled at a lot higher. It's barrel proof, so it's going to come in, typically from the 120s to 130s. Even I've heard it as high as 140 at times. The one we did was 130.4 proof. Whereas the Eagle Rare is always going to be bottled at 101 proof. Now, the regular Eagle Rare is 10 years old at 90 proof. The BTAC version of Eagle Rare is 101 proof and 17 years. So we can see how much that does to change the flavor and see how it compares also to some of the other Buffalo Trace Antique Collection bourbons. So we're going to start here with the Eagle Rare 17 from the BTAC. Let's pour a little bit. All right, so we start out with our Glencairn glass, which we always use on Bourbon Rocks. And we look at the color, and it's kind of that ochre, sort of earthy, reddish brown tone, which most of these older bourbons are going to have from Buffalo Trace that we've done so far. All have that sort of a reddish brown. Some are a little bit more to the auburn, darker red. Some of them are a little bit lighter, more of the kind of burnt sienna. I'd call this one sort of ochre, but it's all right in that medium red to brown, red orange to brown color. The body, sort of round. See how the legs kind of run down the glass a bit. This is a full body, like they all have been. A little bit thinner than the Stag, maybe because of its lower proof point, but still a full-bodied bourbon. And then we nose, and again, you've seen enough. Oh yeah. So keep your mouth open. Kind of sniff that in. Now, when we did the Weller and the Stag, you get hit with this alcohol burst at first because those were both over 130 proof, and so you have to kind of go back the second time because that I get that out. Your nose used to that alcohol. Now, this is only 101 proof, so you don't get that blast of alcohol right from the very beginning. You immediately go to the fruitiness, and this is much fruitier than the Stag, and you get that blackberry cobbler. There's some baking spice in there, a little like a cinnamon toast crunch, but definitely that fruit, that berry fruitness. And I love fruit. I love bourbons that have a lot of sweet, fruity notes and so forth. And this one definitely, it's got that. It didn't get as much fruit at all with the Stag. Stag was much spicier. Got a little bit of peaches with the water, but not like this. This is like blackberry. There's that mixed berry. Oh, that's really good. All right, so let's see how it tastes. Chew it. You've got that blackberry cobbler. This is like, so the last. All the BTACs have sort of given them a little kind of a dessert. So the Weller was a Krispy Kreme donut, the kind with a vanilla custard filling and a little bit of chocolate on the top. The Stag was a spicier, more like a cinnamon roll, buttery cinnamon goodness. This is very, 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 very fruity. This is like a Mrs. Smith's mixed berry cobbler, okay? So imagine that delicious, doughy goodness with all the juicy fruits and so forth. Very, very much sweeter than the Stag. Not as spicy. Some baking spices in there. You get like you're gonna bake that pie. You gotta put some spice in it, but it's much more fruity. This is really, really, really good. It's not that well, I mean, there's some oak. There's some oak, and we'll get to the finish in a second. A little bit more oak lingering. I mean, it's 17 years. You'd expect a lot, and I mean, there's some in there at the end. You don't get it up front. You know what I really got initially, which actually surprised me a little bit. Let me try again before I say it, because this one is a little bit of shocking flavor. I don't think people would expect. Let me see if I can get it again. I initially got a little bit of like citrus forward. That one surprised me. There was like lemon zest, lemon peel. It fades very quickly. You don't get it towards the end. That kind of came out right away. Like maybe if you squeeze just a tiny little bit of lemon juice onto your apple. I'm sorry, not your apple. Excuse me, your blackberry cobbler. That little bit of lemon zest maybe. And that kind of faded away. Though I was a little bit surprised. I don't typically get a lot of citrusy stuff out of these Buffalo Trace products, but I did get a little bit of that lemon at first. But that's kind of faded away. Now it's gone back to that, that mixed berry cobbler and a little bit of the baking spices. This is definitely like if you went to a pie shop. Okay, I love pie too, so this is very good. The finish is a little bit shorter. It's medium. I said medium finish. It's a little bit shorter than the Stag. Stag made that high proof just really stayed with you, for like a minute. This one fades away a little bit more. It leaves you, with that sort of that lingering fruitiness and so forth. There are the oak tannins. The oak does come out at the end. You got a little of that citrus in the very beginning. Then you went straight through all the berries through the whole thing. This is a berry bomb. Okay, it's a blackberry, little raspberry, probably more blackberry, all the way through. No question about it. This is fruity goodness. Okay, but you started with a little bit of citrus, and then the oaks do kind of linger at the end. There's a little bit of tannins. It's a 17-year-old bourbon, so you're going to expect some of that. Not in a bad way, in a very, very good way. It complements. Yeah. Okay. So what do we got with Eagle Rare 17? It's an ace, okay? I know you've watched some of the early videos and you see all these aces, and believe me, it's not going to be like this forever. I started out with the bourbons that I thought were going to be the best, and so far I haven't been disappointed. I would say that the Eagle Rare 17, in my opinion, is better than the Stag. Not as good as the Weller. The Weller's the best, one of the best bourbons I've ever had. But I think this beats the Stag. Now, I normally like high proof bourbons, but that high proof on that George T. Stag did not actually pull as much flavor from the barrel as I thought. It was definitely spicy, and this is not as spicy. This is much sweeter, much more of that. Tell you what, let's see what water does, because it's definitely got more fruit, and let's see if water can change things a little bit. The Stag, and again, I like high proof bourbons, but I almost wonder if, and I don't normally water them down. I pretty much drink everything neat, but I kind of wonder if maybe if I put a little bit of water in that Stag and lower the proof just a tiny bit, and see what it would compare to this Eagle Rare at 101 proof. Let's see what the water did. Oh gosh, there's that. Oh my goodness, that fruit is just, it wafts through. It's like you're walking past, a house where somebody put that pie, like maybe Mrs. Smith's house where she put that blackberry cobbler on the window. Well, the water brings more vanilla into it. So you've got your blackberry cobbler, but now imagine you put a little dollop of vanilla ice cream on it. So now it's creamy with the water. It's more vanillins are coming out with the water, so you get that like vanilla a la mode, that ice cream on top of your blackberry cobbler. Wow, this is really, really good. I would say it doesn't beat the Weller. I like wheated bourbons. It's really hard to beat wheated bourbons in my personal experience. Unless I'm doing cocktails, I do like rye cocktails. But for sipping bourbons, I'd like the wheated bourbons. But as far as the rye, same mash bill, I think this Eagle Rare at 17 years is a tad bit better than the Stag, even though the Stag is a higher proof. This one drinks very easily, and there's a lot more fruit coming out of it than you get with that Stag, which is a little more spicy. It just depends on personal preference, whether you want more fruit, more sweetness, or more spiciness. I prefer sweet and fruity a little bit more. So I'm going to say the Eagle Rare is better than the Stag, but not as good as the Wild. But wait, we are going to do head-to-head comparisons with a flight from the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. That's coming, and we can try them next to each other, and we'll see if we agree with ourselves and see what you think. All right, so check us out on bourbonrocks.com. This is Eagle Rare 17 from the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. Thank you very much. Check you next time.